Happy Thursday, it's Zach here. This week, as you're probably all aware, we're talking about how bipolar disorder affects different relationships. And each of us kind of touched on it last week a little bit, but this week we're going a lot more in depth to it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started because it's 6:30 in the morning right now. I'm exhausted and this video needs to be done so that I can give my information to you. So I apologize if at any point I'm mildly delirious from being sleep deprived. But anyway, so first of all, I guess family. Like I said last week, only my parents really know that I have bipolar disorder. No one else in the family knows. My brother and sister have some kind of idea. They know that I see a psychiatrist, they know I see a therapist, but they don't really know what's going on. And with my family, with my parents, they try. They really do try their best to understand what's going on. My mom does a little bit better job of understanding what medication does for people with bipolar disorder, you know, how I'm going to behave at different times. My dad hasn't educated himself quite as well, but they're both getting there. With my brother and sister, our relationship hasn't really changed much. It's always been the same. My sister and I don't really get along. My brother and I get along really well. So, in that aspect, I guess bipolar disorder hasn't really affected much because even before I was diagnosed, I was still displaying symptoms. So having the label bipolar disorder, you know, put on me didn't really change much. With my friends, though, it definitely did. Like I also said last week, I really only tell the friends who are closest to me. And it's put a considerable strain on those relationships. Some friends are, all my friends, I guess that I should say, that do know are very supportive. They know what I'm going through, but they don't always quite know how to react to it. I've almost lost several friendships because I just had a really crazy manic episode and I got into fights with friends, and in one instance this past Mardi Gras with a friend, I was having a really bad depressive episode and fighting with her, and it puts a strain. There's definitely that tension there that sometimes they're walking on eggshells, they don't quite know how to act around you, sometimes they won't really know what to say. So it's a strain on both parts because on the part of someone with bipolar disorder, you're trying to be as normal as possible and make things as easy as possible in these relationships, but at the same time you know that there's going to be difficulties, and it's a strain on their part because they may not necessarily know what to do if you're in trouble. I'm lucky enough to have several friends who do understand very well. I have at least 3 on speed dial that if I'm ever in trouble, I know that I can call at almost any time of day and that they're willing to pick up, answer, talk to me. So it's comforting to know that I have that, at least. That whenever I might be in trouble, these 3 friends in particular really, even if they're not experts in bipolar disorder, they really know how to talk to me. They really know how to react to what I'm going through. So, and it's because they've made the effort to educate themselves. They've made their own effort to learn more about bipolar disorder, to learn more about mental illness in general. So I'm really grateful for that. As far as romantic relationships go, my last one ended in part because I was going off to college. Also in part because the other person was going through a lot of troubles. I was going through a lot of troubles. It was when my bipolar disorder was really starting to hit pretty hard and it just started spiraling out of control. And we broke up because we both couldn't really take it. And it's difficult because there was that period of time afterwards where I thought, oh, well, what if I didn't have this disorder? Would we still be dating? You know, what has this done to their relationship? And it's stressful. It put a lot of stress on me because I felt like I was at fault. And really, no one was at fault in that kind of situation. It's just something that happens. You take it, you move on with it. But since then, I haven't really had much in terms of... I haven't had almost anything in terms of dating and romantic relationships. I'm very picky for one thing. I'm also very cautious. I don't open up very easily to people. The very fact that I'm even having this conversation with you people over the internet is astounding in and of itself. But I'm hopeful, I guess I should say. I'm hopeful that, you know, someone out there will eventually want to date me. Whether I have this disorder or not. And it's just waiting. A lot of this disorder is just waiting. Waiting for something to begin, waiting for something to end, and it's tedious, it's frustrating, but we get through it because of these relationships that we do have. If you're someone living with bipolar disorder, let me suggest this to you. When you do tell whoever you decide to tell, family, friends, whomever, try to do so and try to explain it in such a way that they can understand a little bit more easily what you're going through. You know, instead of saying that you're manic, maybe tell them what being manic is, so that way they have a better understanding. If you're aware of any books that can educate them on bipolar disorder, by all means, you know, send them towards that literature. And if you're someone who knows a loved one who's going through bipolar disorder, whether they're a friend, a relative, boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, take it upon yourself to really understand what this person is going through. Now, you don't have to learn everything out there, obviously, that's be too much to expect. But, you know, understand that they're going to have a lot of rough days, they're going to have a lot of great days. And the best thing you can do to make that relationship easy on yourself is by educating yourself, by learning more, learning how to react to different situations. Because it's a learning experience for both parties. It's a learning experience on the part of the person with bipolar disorder. It's a learning experience on the part of everyone else. So don't feel like you have to be walking on eggshells around your friend or family member or whomever just because they have bipolar disorder. The disorder doesn't change them. It just maybe makes certain things in life a little more difficult for them. But those things become easier if they have someone to go to for support. If you're looking for any books in particular, and I will post those in the Dropbox, I would suggest, I'm looking at my library right now, I would suggest anything by Redfield Jamison. She's the head of psychiatry over at Johns Hopkins University. She's also written the quintessential textbook on bipolar disorder. She's written her memoir, An Unquiet Mind. She's also done a book on suicide called called Night Falls Fast, about understanding suicide. She's also written a lot about bipolar disorder. So if you're interested in maybe learning a bit more, she's a good author to go to. And I believe there are everyone else on this channel has read books, and they can probably point you towards sources that are just as good as what I would offer you. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. And if it's not, I have to go anyway because class starts way too early. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below. Also, add your own experiences, your own opinions, because that's how we're going to get this conversation started. We would also like to thank Jessica, and I'll post the links to both of her Tumblrs below in the Dropbox. She has a wonderful blog called Faces of Mental Illness that aims to show the world, the online community and the world, that we are more than the label we put on ourselves. We are more than bipolar disorder. We are more than depression. We are more than anorexia. So she suggested this topic to us, and we gratefully accepted it. So thank you, Jessica, and everyone check out her blog. Until next week, where we'll be talking about something, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.